back by popular demand, and by that I mean I had one of you great people ask me in a comment, hey, could you do this style video for Ruby Sapphire? Absolutely we can. So we're going to go ahead and build a Ruby Sapphire deck using information found on our topping spreadsheet, link down below. This spreadsheet I keep, actually I might as well show you guys so it's easier to talk about it. We can go to our main chart. We track all the tops of the format, what depending on the size of the event. If you scroll down, you'll see what counts as a top. Anyway, representation, total percentages, lots of good information. Again, today we're only focused on Sisu on ice, on red, blue here today. So I also have tabs at the bottom, and you may notice first thing, well, that says 79. I also don't have time to go and log in 300 decks in a 4-week period. I don't have time to do every single deck. So each event I try to pull like first and second place unless it's something like tempo, like lemon lime discard where they're top 4 possibly. I try to get some deck core information just to show you guys roughly what successful deck lists are playing. Again, these are very incomplete lists, but at the same time, if you go look through all of them, aside from a few tech cards here or there, the cards that pop up in high percentages here are pretty unanimous across all of them. So how this is going to work is we're going to go ink by ink, so 1 inks first, and we can see Ice Block, Popsicle, and Develop Your Brain are all over 50% played. So we're going to go ahead and add those 3 cards into our deck. To what ratio? Especially when it's 5, 4, 3. 2 is the most common ratio, so we're going to go 2 Ice Blocks, 4 Popsicle, 4 Develop Your Brain. If you're looking for other options, Shield of Virtue and Vitalisphere have seen play. So let's go ahead and get our 1-drops in there. What did we say? 2 Ice, 4 Popsicle, and 4 Develop. We get to skip right over the Ruby part. With any luck, once in a while, this comes out to an even 60. Sometimes we're up, like, I think every time I've been between like 58 and 64. And then we just look at the curve of the deck, look at what we have, what we're missing, and decide which cards using the list we would play. 2-drops are not too common in this deck, and we can see here Scuttle was played of these 12. Again, small sample size, not saying that only one person ever plays it, it's just an option. But 1 Jump Ahead is a card that gets played all the time as a 4 of, so we're going to go ahead and get that in there too. And by all means, if a card you like, a tech you like, isn't on here, that doesn't mean it's bad, because the tech cards on here weren't on here until somebody topped with it. So just because it's not on here doesn't mean it cannot work, cannot see success, and is not good. We get into our 3-drops, and we have quite a bit more cards here to go with. Maui's Fishhook, Sisu Daring Visitor, and Sisu Emboldened Warrior all see a pretty good amount of play. However, the Emboldened Warrior is the only one over that 50% mark as a 2 of, so we'll get 2 of her in here while we're at it. Brawl and Fishbone Quill are almost unanimous 4 ofs. The Brawl and Fishbone each have a couple though where they were played as 3 ofs as opposed to 4s, meaning you don't have to play it at 4, but we strongly recommend it. Items, if they're an issue at your locals, Judy Hopps is a potential option. Something we also started to see, Great Stone Dragon. A couple lists that will make it onto here too that I just have not had the time for were the 10K. One of them was playing Great Stone. So just based on that, this will go up a little bit. So keep in mind these lists do change and progress. Follow the spreadsheet. It is linked in every single video I do to see what changes as the format goes on. At the time of this though, like I said, it was 2 out of the 12 lists that we had seen. So if we're going to go ahead and add in here, we have 2 Sisu, 4 Brawl, and 4 Fishbone Quill to bring our deck up to current. There's our Sisu. The Daring Visitor could be a nice tech card, especially if like aggro decks are popular in your local meta, because she just answers the aggro decks really well. We got 4 Brawls, and let's go get our Fishbone Quills now. One thing that a viewer did point out, and I 100% wholeheartedly absolutely agree with it too, take these lists with a grain of salt, because we're just going off the common percentage. Sometimes that tech card is why the player did good. Sometimes they got good matchups. Sometimes they had good RNG. Sometimes they just played out of their mind. Sometimes they're just good. But sometimes that low percentage tech card is the card that pushes them over the top. So do consider those cards that we're not putting on this list, but made the spreadsheet that way, because there's a reason they were played. And again, maybe that card is the reason that the player saw the success that they did. The list that we get at the end of this video is essentially going to be a very good, very strong starting point. It's not a finished product, but it is just that, a very strong starting point that you should be able to take to an event and see success with and find out, maybe I should tweak this card, or maybe I should play that card. The 4-drops also are a pretty big spot here, so we have quite a few cards to talk about. There's a few more tech cards here. McDuck Manor, I actually really like this card, this format. So if you're looking for a tech card, McDuck Manor would probably be pretty high up my list. Aurora Lore Guardian, I'll be honest, I would have to go look and read the card because offhand, I don't know which one this is. I think I can picture it in my head, but I could not tell you her effect right now without going over to Dreamborn and looking. So if this card got played on me, I would have to stop and read it. And again, sometimes cards like that, where you have to stop and read them, are cards that can win you games. For example, at my local that I went and took first place at, testing out Bucky Discard for potentially playing it at set championships, I was running Beast Wolfsbane. It's a 5-cost 4/4 rush character that's uninkable in Quest for 2. Also, when he gets played, you can exert all of the damaged characters on the board. So he has rush, he exerts their characters, and it's a fantastic top deck. And so many people, when I'm like, okay, Beast Wolfsbane, and then crash into that and take it out, and they're like, wait, can I read it for a second? Because they weren't ready for it. So again, sometimes that low percentage card is a card that puts in a lot of work. Goof, Super Goof, another one of those tech cards. The Hiram Flaversham and the Grammatala, Keeper of Ancient Secrets, are, well, Hiram is a natural born 4 of, Tala being a 3 or 4 of. Both were played in 100% of the list. Bell's Strangefoot Special is played in about a quarter of them, and then How Far I'll Go, usually a 4 of, but quite a few people do still play her at 3, about 33%. Either way, this card should probably be in your list. So for this video, we're going to add 4 How Fars, the 4 Tala, and 4 Hiram into Hiram. What is the proper way to say it? So, so here is our Aurora Lore Guardian, just for the sake of the video. Opponents can't choose your items or effects. That's the one, the new one. Essentially, you play her because your opponent can't choose your items to destroy them. So that's pretty good. You just play her, leave her readied. They have to sing songs or use some type of removal on her that way. You can exert her, or exert one of your items, look at the top card of your deck, and put it either on top or bottom of your deck. Quest for 2. Lots of good things going, but usually you're going to play her and leave her readied so that your opponent can't choose your items. Do keep in mind something like I find on my Platinum does play around it, because you don't choose, you just destroy them all. We got our 4s, and 4s. We're up to 36 cards as we go into our 5 ink spot. Not too surprising, because this is a very top heavy deck. Actually, there's not a whole lot of cards here, but we'll see. We get into that 5-drop spot. We have Budget Maui, probably the reason it gets played. He does have 7 strength, but being uninkable, I would not recommend the Hercules Daring Demigod. However, Maui is a 4 of. Usually some, again, play 3. Personally, I think it's a 4 of. Maui is just an insane card and very, very strong. Lady Tremaine, if we're short, this might be a card we add in. I think that this card is going to see more play moving forward, because playing it after a Be Prepared is a little bit better than a Medusa. Because unless they come back with 2 characters, you're going to be able to hit a more impactful card with that Lady Tremaine. Madame Medusa almost split evenly between 3 and 4, but the 4s take a slight edge over her, and we see less Belle being played, and part of that is because Ariel Treasure Collector. Obviously, she's not being played a ton neither, but between the 2 of them, they almost do hit 50%. They're very good cards that help you close out games pretty quickly. So in our 5 and 6 slot, we have 4 Maui to add and 4 Madame Medusas. That will bring us to 44 total cards, leaving 16 So I think we're going to have to go through and add in a few more cards when we're done with this, and I'll show you guys how we decide to do that when we get there. Part of it will involve looking at our uninkable count and going from there. So we have our 6s. We're going to come down, get ready to go in our 7s. Gaston, another potentially really strong card to play. Lucky Dime, 2 of. One player actually topped and had 3 of them, but otherwise it is pretty unanimous at a 2 of. Scar Vicious Cheater can be a devastating card to drop on your opponent late game and just take out their board, or at least multiple characters. And Be Prepared, at first people thought maybe we don't play this card, but it ended up sticking around as a 3 of. So let's get 2 dimes and 3 Be Prepareds into our deck. The uninkable count is starting to go up pretty quickly here. Now we're at 49, so we have 11 spots left. Sisu Empowered Sibling and Tamatoa are the only 2 8-drops played, which makes sense when you look at the card pool available. 3 Sisu and 4 Tamatoa, which would happen to put us at 56 cards, so we need 4 more. And if we look at that 9-drop spot, Maleficent Dragon, like I said, once in a while, these videos work out where we get a clean 60 on it. So let's go get 3 Sisu, 4 Tamatoa, 4 Maleficent, and then we'll review the deck and talk about a few more things on it. I'm going to go ahead, though, quickly and move me over to this side. Actually, no, I'll leave me there. I'll just go like this and throw the image up on the screen for you guys. So when we have our deck list now, you can go ahead, as far as characters go, we don't have a 1 or 2 drop character, and that's usually pretty normal for this deck. We got 2 Sisu on 3s, 4s we have the 4 Tala, 4 Hiram, and then we have 4 Maui on 5, Madame Medusas we're at 4, 3 Sisu, 4 Tamatoa, 4 Maleficent Dragons. So we're coming in very strong into that late game. You want to hit your ramp, and how do we do that? We have 4 Quill, 4 1 Jump, and 4 How Far I'll Go, all cards helping you try to get to that late game as quick as possible. Develop Your Brain, allowing you to be able to search your deck. And by search, I mean you look at the top 2 cards, add 1 to your hand. Brawl is too good of a card not to play as 4 of if you're in a Ruby deck. You have the Be Prepareds. Ice Block also helping your Brawl and your Sisu and your Medusa take out slightly stronger characters. The 4 Popsicle and 2 Dime are kind of just standard ratios that you're going to play. We're playing 22 uninkable cards, and the deck comes in at about $426. Neither one of those are too surprising, but at the same time, they can potentially cause issues, especially the 22 uninkable cards. Things like Fishbone Quill, however, help that out because you really want to mulligan hard to get your Quill and your Hiram on board. And if you do that, you're sitting in a pretty good spot because then you have your draws going. Ideally, you hit a Popsicle or an Ice Block too just to get more draws. Use them for the other card or effects if needed. But you really want that Quill and then the Hiram to replenish your hand and to get those uninkables out of your hand to put them to use, to build up your Inkwell, to get to your Sisus, your Tamatoas, your Maleficent Dragons, and all of those cards in between. Well, there are none in between because I listed the 8s and 9s and then said the cards in between. It's getting late, but thank you guys for watching. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, and again, let me know what you guys want to see down below. I do have things planned, especially with set championships coming up, but I do try to take requests and do things if you guys ask. So let me know down below in the comments what else would you like to see. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, take care.